Part A. Extract 1. Questions 1 to 12. You hear a general practitioner talking to a patient called Mihiraa. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Good morning, Mihiraa. What brings you in today?
Morning, Dr. Johnson. Well, it's a bit of a saga, really. It started subtly, Just a dull ache, almost imperceptible, right here in the left shoulder. I initially put it down to sleeping awkwardly, perhaps a weird dream, but then it just escalated. Not like a sudden jolt, more of a creeping crescendo of discomfort. It's been about, I'd say a good 3 weeks now. The pain, it's not constant, which is what's so perplexing. It tends to flare up, particularly when I reach for something high, or even just attempting to do up a bra strap. Simple, everyday movements, things I never even thought about before, now send these sharp, almost electric pangs shooting down my arm, sometimes even into my fingertips. Lifting anything heavier than, say, a teacup feels impossible. It's primarily localized to the anterior deltoid region, but there's a distinct radiating component.
I see. And what are these flares like? Can you describe the intensity?
On a scale of 1 to 10, easily a 7, sometimes an 8. It's debilitating. I work as a graphic designer, so I'm at my desk for extended periods, and just maneuvering the mouse, even that slight abduction, aggravates it. I've noticed a definite limitation in my range of motion, especially external rotation and abduction beyond 90 degrees. There's also this peculiar sensation, almost like a clunk sometimes, but not always. And it feels unstable. Not like a fracture, more like something isn't quite seated correctly.
Has there been any trauma? A fall, an accident? Anything specific that might have triggered this, Mihiraa?
That's the thing, no. Not that I can recall. I'm usually quite active. I enjoy Pilates, and I'm a keen amateur gardener. I do recall a particularly vigorous session of weeding about a month ago, a lot of reaching and pulling, but nothing that felt overtly strenuous at the time. I tried all the usual suspects for relief: paracetamol, ibuprofen, even some topical analgesic balms. I've been applying heat packs religiously, alternating with ice packs, but the relief is transient at best. I even tried a shoulder brace I bought online, but it just made it feel more constricted without alleviating the underlying issue.
Right. From what you've described, Mihiraa, it strongly suggests a shoulder dislocation. It sounds like you've experienced an anterior dislocation of the glenohumeral joint. We need to confirm this with a physical examination and possibly an X-ray to rule out any associated fractures.
Oh, really? I thought those were for big, dramatic accidents.
Not always, Mihiraa. Sometimes an underlying laxity or repetitive strain can predispose someone to it, even with seemingly minor activities. The treatment will involve a reduction, where we carefully maneuver the humerus back into its proper position within the glenoid fossa. This is usually done under conscious sedation to ensure your comfort and muscle relaxation.
Sedation? How long will that take? And what about work?
The reduction itself is usually quite quick. You'll need someone to drive you home afterwards, as you'll be drowsy from the sedation. After the reduction, we'll need to immobilize your arm in a sling for a few weeks to allow the surrounding tissues to heal and to prevent recurrence. You'll likely need to take a few days off work initially, and then depending on your recovery, we can discuss a gradual return to your duties. We'll also start you on a course of gentle physiotherapy once the initial pain subsides, focusing on regaining your range of motion and strengthening the rotator cuff muscles to improve stability.
Extract 2. Questions 13 to 24. You hear a social worker talking to a patient called Mihiraa. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Good morning, Mihiraa. I'm a social worker, Edward Erickson. What brings you to see me today?
Oh, Mr. Erickson, thank you. It's all just become a bit much, you see. I was referred by Dr. Lucy, my GP. It's my mother, bless her heart. She's been declining, quite rapidly now, over the past few months. Cognitively, the deterioration has been significant. GP said a social worker might be able to help me navigate this rather bewildering labyrinth I find myself in. She's getting confused and disoriented. Last week, she tried to leave the house at midnight, convinced she needed to prepare for her teaching class tomorrow. The instances of what they call sundowning syndrome are increasingly prevalent.
I see. That sounds incredibly challenging for you. Mihiraa, could you elaborate on how this is impacting you personally?
Impacting me? It's like a persistent, insidious erosion of my very being. The constant vigilance, the fragmented sleep. I'm lucky if I get 3 consecutive hours. My own capacity for executive function has plummeted. I find myself forgetting simple tasks, misplacing things, experiencing this pervasive mental fog. There's a profound sense of isolation, too. My friends, they try to be supportive, but they don't truly grasp the relentless demands. I'm utterly exhausted, physically and emotionally. The emotional lability is alarming. I oscillate between profound sadness, a crushing grief for the mother I once knew, and flashes of intense frustration, which then immediately trigger immense guilt. It's a vicious cycle of emotional dysregulation. I used to be so organized, so on top of things. Now, I feel perpetually behind, perpetually inadequate. My general practitioner tried prescribing a low-dose anxiolytic, but it just made me drowsy, rendering me even less functional during the day when I needed to be acutely present. I also tried some herbal remedies, valerian root, chamomile infusions, for the sleep, but the efficacy was negligible given the severity of the nocturnal wandering.
It's understandable that you're feeling this way, given the circumstances. You mentioned your mother's teaching class. What is your own occupation, Mihiraa?
Oh, I'm a teacher as well. A primary school teacher, specializing in early childhood education. And honestly, my professional performance has suffered. I'm perpetually distracted, my lesson planning is haphazard, and my engagement with the children feels diminished. I'm constantly worried about a call from home or what I'll find when I return.
Thank you for sharing that. It sounds like you're carrying a significant burden. Based on what you've described, Mihiraa, it's becoming clear that your mother requires a level of care that's increasingly difficult to provide at home. We'll need to seriously consider a transition to an aged care facility. This isn't an easy decision, I know, but it's about ensuring her safety and well-being, and critically, your own capacity to function.
That feels so drastic. Like I'm abandoning her. We've always been so close. I promised her I'd always look after her. What does that even involve?
My role is to help you through this process, Mihiraa. We would begin with a comprehensive needs assessment, which involves reviewing your mother's current medical reports, her functional capabilities, and her specific care requirements. The treatment, in this context, is about securing the appropriate environment. It's a structured approach, not an abandonment. It provides round-the-clock nursing care, therapeutic activities to maintain cognitive function, and specialized support for individuals with dementia. The time frame for placement can vary significantly, from a few weeks to several months, depending on bed availability and the urgency of her needs. The primary risk of not moving forward, Mihiraa, is a potential for further injury to your mother due to unsupervised wandering or falls, and a complete breakdown of your own health and capacity to cope. It's a complex decision, but one we need to approach systematically.